What's going on, bottom line viewers and NFL bettors? It's Mitch back here with another week of NFL best bets, this time for week number 11 of the 2022 NFL season. My favorite picks versus the spread for week number 11, and I give you my best bets each and every week here on the BLV, so don't forget to subscribe and show your support by Gronk spiking the like button. Also, let me know in the comment section below your best bet for week number 11. 2 weeks ago, we went undefeated, 5-0. It was fabulous. It was fantastic, but we got a little bit overconfident. We got a little cocky. We were fat and happy, and there was a bit of regression. There was. We went 2-4, but I was a little unlucky as well. Two of my picks lost 14-point leads. One of my picks missed 2 field goals. So you get a little unlucky sometimes. This week, the luck will be back on our side. Let's begin week 11 best bets with my first pick versus the spread. That is the Philadelphia Eagles getting back on track, just as I will this week, -6.5 at the Indianapolis Colts. I love Jalen Hurts and the Eagles to get back on track. Nick Sirianni versus his old team, getting some revenge for his pal Frank Reich. Why not? Jeff Saturday, he's probably pretty happy that he won his first game. And I think that vibe is going throughout the Colts building. You can see it in their ownership right now with how confident they are right now and how happy they are right now. I think the Colts come back down to earth in this matchup versus still arguably the best team in football. The Eagles have not played their best the last 2 weeks. They know that. They were kind of embarrassed on Monday Night Football, losing to the Commanders, a team that they were 11-point favorites against. I think the Eagles come out. I think offensively, they can move the football with their run game against the Indianapolis Colts. I think it's going to be a lot for the Colts to have to defend both the running back and Jalen Hurts in this 6-back offense. It's different to defend the traditional running game of teams. The Colts are fairly good at that. But when it comes to also dealing with the athleticism of Jalen Hurts, they've got to pick their poison between that and the potential big plays in the passing game that Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown can pose. I think that's going to be a challenge for Gus Bradley in this matchup. I believe Jalen Hurts has a big game, and I think this defense, more importantly, gets back on track. They have not played their best, specifically against the run. The Colts have not been a very good rushing team this year, despite their reputation. Last week was a different story. They were much better with Jonathan Taylor, but I believe a lot of that was just the Raiders' defense being as horrific as any unit in football. I think the Eagles play a little bit angry, with an edge. And all you're telling me here is that they've got to win by 7. I think they win by 7. I still believe the Eagles are an elite team. I still believe they can dictate and dominate the line of scrimmage. And I believe in any passing situation, the Eagles defense will dominate that offensive line of the Colts that struggled in pass protection all year long. And Matt Ryan, he's a statue back there. He's going to get hit. He's going to get sacked. He's going to turn the football over. Give me the Eagles to win this game and to cover due to their defense getting back on track. My second best bet versus the spread for week number 11 is the New York G-Men -3 over the Detroit Lions. I played the Jared Goff outdoors card last week, and it didn't really work out for me. But you're not going to win every single time based on a single trend. For me, the New York Giants have a much greater, tougher, more challenging, schematic defense than the Chicago Bears. I think Wink Martindale is one of those defensive coordinators that can come up with this elaborate game plan to confuse Jared Goff. A quarterback that really is not good versus the blitz, that really suffers at picking things up in protection, at understanding where to go with the ball against the blitz, and by just generally staying calm and not turning the ball over and not taking bad sacks, and he does give up strip sacks. I feel that the Giants defense is about to have a big performance in this game. Their pass defense, I think, is a bit underrated. And their run defense, while it does give up some rushing yards and the Lions should be able to move the ball that way, it's not going to be easy when you have a very tough interior defensive line that the Giants pose with Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence. I believe this Giants defensive line can stand up to this Lions offensive line and make life very difficult for Jared Goff in a way that the Bears could not. On the other side of the ball, this is where I really like this matchup. Daniel Jones, a lot like Justin Fields, is a very good athlete. Now, is he Justin Fields? Not exactly. But I could see Daniel Jones having a big day running the football here. The Lions were terrible against Justin Fields in the zone read last week. Brian Daboll's a very intelligent coach. He will see that on film. The Lions will not have enough time to adapt and to evolve and to change. And I think Daniel Jones takes off running with the football regularly for big chunks of yards. And we've seen that really catapult the Giants this year to successful offense off play action. And we know what Saquon can do on the ground. The Lions still are not very good versus the run. I think Saquon has another 100-yard game here. It's also in New York. Again, outdoors Jared Goff. And you have to love, as much as people love Dan Campbell, he's not the mind that Wink Martindale or Brian Daboll are. This is a significant coaching edge for the G-men. I've got the Giants at home -3. My third pick, best bet versus the spread for week number 11 is my New England Patriots -3 over the New York Jets. The Patriots have won 13 or 14 games in a row. I've lost track against the New York Jets franchise. I understand that doesn't have too much relevance, but they did already beat them this year. And it was actually a closer game on the scoreboard than it was late in the fourth quarter. Patriots were up by, I believe, double digits before a garbage time touchdown from the New York Jets. Now, that was only 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, the two teams have only played one game. The Jets beat the Bills, which was a great victory, don't get me wrong. The Patriots punished the Colts. Now, this spread has changed drastically because the Patriots are at home minus a field goal. In that game versus the Jets, they were favored by a field goal on the road. So, Vegas is telling us that the Patriots got worse somehow, even though they're getting back two of their most important players, David Andrews on offense at center, which is really significant to this matchup, in particular playing a very good defensive line, and Kyle Duggar at safety. In that game, Tyler Conklin actually was really good, the best receiver in the game, and Kyle Duggar is a shutdown, lockdown guy. So the Patriots get two of their best players back. The Patriots defense is really good. Everybody's hyping up the Jets defense. The Patriots defense is really darn good. Their pass rush is really darn good. And they can stop the run. We've seen that the Jets couldn't really run the ball on them last time they played. Zach Wilson panics and turns the ball over every time he plays the Patriots. The Patriots confuse him every time. Devin McCourty has an interception every time. The Patriots have a significant edge from their defense versus the Jets offense. And it's in New England. And it's Bill Belichick with extra time to prepare in a big divisional matchup against a team that he despises and hates. And he never loses to. Against a young quarterback. And yes, the Patriots won the first game. I like their offense to be able to run the football in this game. No Sheldon Rankins up front for the Jets. I think that does hurt the size up front. Patriots could take advantage of that. Stevenson ran well in the first matchup. Harris ran well in the first matchup. I think they could do the same in this game. And I only believe that their passing game will get better in this matchup. Devontae Parker back from injury, but Mac now has a bye, a little bit more time to get healthy, a little bit more time to grow within this offense after being thrusted back into the starting lineup after that significant high ankle sprain. So I think everything lines up for New England here. They're at home. This is a matchup they routinely win, and they're healthier. And their offense could be better, but even if it isn't, they could still win a defensive game. I think New England wins this game. I think they cover this game. I think they're the better team, period. And I think they move on, sweeping the New York Jets. My fourth best bet for week number 11 of the 2022 NFL season is the Cincinnati Bengals, -4 at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I don't love fading Mike Tomlin as an underdog at home. I don't love it, especially against a team that he already beat this year. But I do like Joe Burrow in a revenge spot. I do like the Bengals, a young, hungry team in a revenge spot. They know what happened in week 1. They know how they lost in week 1, and it had a lot to do with turnovers. Quite simply, if Joe Burrow doesn't throw the ball to the other team 4 times, 3 times, whatever it was, they don't lose that game. Not even close. They moved the football up and down the field in the second half. TJ Watt or no TJ Watt. Joe Burrow was dicing up that secondary, and Jamar Chase was a big part of that. He's not playing in this game. But this offensive line has gotten better since then. This offensive line has ran the ball better since then. T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd can make up for the loss of Jamar Chase. I'm certain of it, against a subpar secondary. So they should still have advantages at wide receiver for Joe Burrow. But what I really love about this game, even past Joe Burrow being angry, is also that, okay, the Steelers just won a game, so they're probably not coming into a rah-rah spot for Mike Tomlin. And this defense of the Bengals, with a significant coaching edge, coming off of a bye, with an extra week to prepare for a bad rookie quarterback and a bad offensive scheme and a weak scheme and a thin scheme and a bad offensive line, it just points to, yeah, maybe the Steelers defense holds their own for a bit, but this offense for the Steelers, I just don't see scoring that many points. Eventually, the Bengals will be able to pull away, and I think as long as they don't turn the ball over multiple times, they will win and cover this game. So I've got the Cincinnati Bengals. They're not getting swept by this Steelers team, a team that they've kind of owned in recent years. I've got Cincinnati over the Steelers in week number 11. My fifth best bet for week number 11 is the Dallas Cowboys, -1, -1.5. I would urge you to wait on this one, though, because this is a public fade, and the public is going to come in all over the Minnesota Vikings here. The Vikings just beat Buffalo in Buffalo. The Vikings are at home. The Vikings are riding high. The Cowboys lost. They choked. They lost a 14-point lead to Aaron Rodgers' Green Bay, a team that wasn't playing well previously. So everybody's going to be on the Vikings. For good reason. Logically, it makes sense. But Vegas is hanging a line that doesn't make sense, and that's fishy. And I like Dallas in this game. Part of it is public perception. Part of it is that if you ended both games after the third quarter last week, what would the line actually be here? Dallas beating the Packers by 14, the Bills beating the Vikings by double digits. What would the line actually be for this game? That's part of it. The other part of it is last year, with a lot of the same players on both sides, different coaching staff for the Vikings, the Cowboys in a similar spot went to Minnesota, beat the brakes off of the Vikings in a primetime spot with Cooper Rush at quarterback. Beat the brakes off them. It was domination. I think the Cowboys match up very well with the Vikings. I think this is a matchup league, and this is a bad matchup for the Vikings, especially if they don't have Christian Darrisaw at left tackle in this game. So you combine a potential mismatch of a Dallas D-line versus a kind of up and down, inconsistent O-line of the Vikings. A pretty good pass defense. I favor them in all passing situations versus the Vikings' offensive passing game. And I like Dallas's offense to attack an overrated Vikings defense, in my opinion. I think they can run the ball on the Vikings. I think they can throw the ball on the Vikings. I think they can stay balanced here. I don't see anybody covering CeeDee Lamb. He should have another big day. I think the Dallas Cowboys show up huge in this spot after a tough loss, a really emotional loss for Mike McCarthy. I think they rally, And the Vikings, coming off their most emotionally satisfying victory, drop back down to earth. Give me Dallas -1, -1.5. They're going to win this game. My final best bet for week number 11 is the Arizona Cardinals in Mexico, technically at home, +8. I know, Kyler Murray, Colt McCoy, I don't really care. Colt McCoy beat the Niners last year pretty convincingly by 2 scores last season. Was very good in that game. Colt McCoy knows how to attack this defense. For whatever reason, the Cardinals play the Niners really, really well and really, really competitively for the past couple of seasons. They swept them last year. They did. Jimmy Garoppolo played in one game. Trey Lance played in the other. The Niners are a good team, but I think 8 points is too many. I'm not necessarily saying that the Cardinals are going to win the game. I think the Niners will win the game. But as we saw last week, the Niners can completely dominate an opponent and still not cover the game. Like, they dominated the Chargers. The Chargers didn't even score in the second half, and they still didn't cover the game. So I like the Cardinals +8 in an NFC West division rivalry. 2 teams that are familiar with each other in a neutral site. If this was in San Francisco, I get 8 points. That makes sense. This game's not in Arizona. It's not in San Francisco. It's in Mexico. Plus, DeAndre Hopkins is going to be a tough challenge for this secondary. And Marquise Brown could also be back, apparently. That would be huge. Cardinals offense isn't half bad. Defensively, I think they have like a good feel for how to defend Shanahan's rushing attack for the most part. And they understand that Jimmy G isn't torching them over the top, so they can sit on routes underneath. And I think they're very well coached. Vance Joseph does a good job of defending this offense traditionally. So I like the Cardinals to keep this one within a score or two to make it really competitive here. 8 points is just a lot in this division rivalry, and at a neutral site. And you could actually wait here later in the week. If they announce Kyler Murray out, I'm sure you could get an 8.5, maybe even 9 points here. And I personally don't see a huge difference the way those two guys are playing right now. I think the Cardinals are the team to back in this situation. I could be wrong because the Niners, they have a tendency to sometimes blow teams out of the water. But this matchup in particular doesn't seem to be good for them. So I'm going to take the Cardinals +8 on Monday Night Football in this spot. Thanks, guys, for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Gronk, spike the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for weekly NFL best bets. And don't forget to check out my full betting preview where I may add a pick or two. And I definitely give you my over-under picks, my parlay picks, all that and more. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to check out my Patreon for all my bets every single week. Thank you for the support. And let me know your favorite bet this week in the comment section below. It's Mitch. Peace.